It is mystery guest time.
Putting my record on the line.
Yeah, you are. Now, there's been a bit of controversy. People thought you knew who this was, but it turns out you don't. But if you do at any point, don't you dare give it away to me. I want to work this out. But you and I, we generally do pretty good.
Well, I do, and you sort of come along for the ride.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, all we know is that this person is called Gary. We do not know what they do. So we've got to work out who they are and what they do. Hello to Gary.
Hello.
Welcome to the chaos, Gary. I must admit, I'm glad that you haven't been scared off quite yet. Lovely to have you on the show. I believe you've been given the general idea of what we've got to do. We have to ask simple yes or no questions, eventually leading to, hopefully, us working out what you do. Could be a while. Sorry in advance.
No problem.
So, where do we begin? I can see a picture on the wall behind, but it's not zoomed in enough for me to sort of notice what it is, if it's anything to do with your profession. I'm going to ask very simply, does it involve sports, what you do?
No.
Okay, good start.
You always kick off with sport, don't you?
It's such a wide area. It's nice to get it out of the way.
Have you been in the same job your whole working career?
No.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So, actually, that raises a question for back office right now. Are we talking about talking of back office, oh, okay, never mind. I do want to know, are we talking about current profession or profession in the past?
Well, you've got to ask a yes or no question.
I know, I'm asking a question to the back office. I'm really not sure if...
Well, the back office ain't going to help you here, Pudge.
No, they never do. I'm going to ask this I'm going to just go by the current profession, right, okay. Does your job involve the armed forces at all?
No.
Okay.
Do you work in the public sector?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is getting difficult. Are we talking... Are you a counsellor?
No.
Oh, okay, thought I'd just go in for the punt there.
Well, yeah. Do you work in the NHS?
No.
Public sector. I really struggle... I struggle with these questions. No, I'm struggling here. Have you got another one? I really am.
Do you not know any jobs in the public sector, Pudge?
I'm struggling to think on the fly because there's a lot of things going on up here.
And just say something, Pudge. Anything you want.
Oh, public sector. I mean,
you've only been doing this for like 9 months.
Oh, easy now, easy. I'm really
Let me think. Do you work with the environment?
No.
Well, that was a kind of like delayed no. It wasn't a straight off the bat no. I feel like that. No. I'm just clutching at straws here.
Okay. See, when I think of public sector, right, I get confused because I really don't. I can't put actual job roles into it.
Well, think of things that you get to use for free.
For
mostly,
free. Okay.
And then think about what jobs are involved in that.
Okay, have we gone down the medical route yet? Is your job anything to do with the NHS?
Oh my God, you weren't listening to me earlier, were you? What? That was a question I asked 2 questions ago.
Well, I don't know. I'm struggling there. I've got lots going on around me. You have no idea what it's like to be on this. I'm going to table flip and walk in a minute.
Do you work with children?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I've got to ask you a question. Was the answer yes or no to the NHS?
It was a no.
So working with children. Is your job anything to do with mental health? That's probably going to come under NHS, isn't it?
It's a no.
It's a no.
There was, yeah, there was but there's a but in there. There's a silent but. He's very good, by the way, at not giving anything away. Very, very good.
Jobs for children. Are you a counsellor?
No.
Now, see, I asked if it was a counsellor earlier, you know.
Yeah, no, not that kind of counsellor.
Just trying to grab something back here. Works with children, not the NHS.
Jobs that work with children, Pudge.
Are you a teacher?
Yes.
Oh!
Okay.
Are we going for a specific teacher here, by the way?
We've got to get a subject.
It's never that easy for us. Oh, he's on it. Look, you're looking so proud of yourself for this one, I must say. Nathan must love you, because he loves it when people wind us up.
Well, I guess a good way to know whether it's subject specific or if it's broad, do you work in a primary school?
No.
So
Do you work in a secondary school?
Yes.
it's going to be subject specific.
One form. Okay, that's fine. We got a lot of subjects to go through, so let's just quick fire these off as we go. Are you an English teacher?
Nope.
Maths teacher.
Nope.
Science teacher? Bingo!
Hey!
Oh, I swear, if Nathan says now, you got to find which area of science. I'm going to lose
three. There's only three.
We've got it
There we
right.
go.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Panic over. Fantastic. Okay, and as if by magic, we're going to get some content in front of us, and we can. Hey, look at that! I can now talk to you about this. Gary, thank you very much for putting up with us. I much appreciated. We do like to have a bit of fun with this as well. How long have you been a science teacher for?
I was just thinking the other day, I think about 15 years I've been a science teacher, a few other bits and bobs before that. But I'm not totally a science teacher. There is another aspect to what we do here.
And what might that be?
Well, I work at a place called, it's part of Wave Academy. So we're like an alternative provision. So it's Nine Maidens Academy, and we deal with children with behavioural issues and people that need a bit extra support in their education.
Fantastic. I've actually heard of you guys. I don't know where from, but I have definitely heard of you guys. So, teaching science, is this something you've always wanted to do?
I suppose it is. Even as a kid, everybody said he's a loudmouth and he just gobs off at everything. But I've always had a passion for science. And what I love about this job is most of the children that come in front of me do not want to. Science is the one they hate the most. They don't want it. And I say to them, it's because it's difficult. But what I love about it is it's like you're lifting up the curtain. You're showing them how the magic of how the world actually works.
That's a really nice way of putting it, actually, yeah. So what was it that really inspired you to become a teacher then?
Well, I think I'd done industry jobs. I'd worked with science in various big industries and things. But what I always started to come round to was telling other people how our stuff worked, how our equipment worked, and how it would help them. And very often the people I was talking to were the people on the shop floor. So the people that had to use the equipment that we were putting in, not the bosses as such. And it was brilliant to see them understand it. And you put the science in terms that they can actually understand how it works. Now, that's what turned me on about that. I used to train the workers, train foundry workers, train food factory workers, train all sorts of people in different areas. And it's just, this is how it works. And to see the light go on in somebody's eyes, that's what I like.
That's lovely. Could you remind me again the name of where you work in? It's Wave...
It's part of Wave Academy. It's a multi-academy trust. We have academies in Cornwall and up through Devon. There's small units which deal with small numbers of pupils. We have primary and secondary. And we deal with the children that have sort of been excluded from the, I don't like to use the word mainstream, because we offer them a mainstream education. We get them back on track. We get their grades. We give them, like our boss says, first chance, second chance, third chance, every chance. These children need the chance. They deserve the education. So we give them across the board education. We have maths teachers, English teachers, PE, arts. It's fantastic.
Fantastic. And when it comes to science, I remember at school I used to prefer chemistry. That's when you got the Bunsen burners out during chemistry, and then biology, the occasional, cutting things up and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then physics was far too bland for me.
All I can remember is spilling hydrochloric acid on my hands.
Oh, to be fair, yeah, the acids came out, didn't they? Yeah. But what about you then, Gary? What's your favourite part of science?
Well, I like the way it bounces across things. I like to bring it into the real world. If I've got somebody that says, I don't want to talk about science, I just want to go home and ride my ped, we start to talk about an engine, how an engine works, the physics of compression, the physics of, the explosion. We use models and things. We bring it across the board. We can link in climate change to photosynthesis, to biology, to factories. And yeah, you've got your showstoppers, you've got your classic metals that blow up in water. And they're great because it really turns the kids on, and acids and things that brings them to the table. Then you can do the more difficult learning.
Fantastic. I'll tell you something. If someone was teaching me about engines back when I was in school, I would have been listening a lot more. That was definitely up my street.
That's the key, though, isn't it? It's as you say, Gary. Bringing it into the real world, not just having it on the book, but showing the the real world application of it. That's a really great way of getting kids to really take up a subject. And that kind of answers what our next question was going to be about, how you go about it, Gary. But you've kind of told us there, which is great. Unless you want to expand on that any more in terms of your method of teaching.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we use everything. You have to have a big toolbox. But the main thing we do here is personal relationship. I mean, I might be in a room with 4 or 5 children that don't want to be there. So it's getting them settled. We can use relatively structured activities. This is a worksheet, this is a textbook. You need to access the learning. You need to start doing something that's very simple. You start very simple. What's in that picture? What happens to you if you get hot? What happens if you get cold, or if you run? And then you take it on board. Once they settle, once you build a trust, you say, right, let's go outdoors and fly a kite now. Let's fly a kite. Let's do a water rocket. You've got a little box of tricks. You open the cupboard and you bring them in. This is a solar panel. This is something, burn a crisp. If you want to tell somebody how you get energy from food, you take a crisp and you set fire to it. And then you measure the heat coming off it. And then they realize that a human is a machine.
I always found when stuff started getting burnt, I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's been a tough year for all of us, Gary, in terms of the pandemic and stuff. But the teachers in particular have been really in the spotlight with having to teach online a lot and sort of the changes in the environment. I assume it was pretty tough being a teacher before the pandemic, but I guess it's been pretty tough since the pandemic as well. Yeah, I mean,
yes, especially some of the environments. Our school is a safe place for the children, and they like to come. They like it here. But we've tried to keep that personal relationship with teams, with video conferencing. We've provided full provision, like every school. We've had video lessons. We've had a proper timetable of lessons every day. Just try and take the pressure off the parents. And I'm also a parent, and I know, even though I'm a teacher, I know how literally impossible it is to teach your own children. My children won't listen to me in the same way a lot of people's children won't listen to them at home. So it's so much of a benefit to have a different adult come in and they respond to them. It's a bit like your dad trying to teach you to drive. You close family members, it can be difficult, but a fresh face. And we've got videos, we've got amazing technology. So we've had to be grateful for that. And but it's certainly great to have them back in the classroom.
I'll bet, yeah.
Absolutely. So obviously down here, it's lovely in Cornwall. It's lovely to actually be able to go out about a bit now and enjoy it. Do you think being in Cornwall changes the teaching experience at all?
I think it certainly helps. I mean, we're passionate about local links. Before the pandemic, we all run trips. I mean, I've taken children to the Eden Project. I've taken them to the Lobster Hatchery. I've taken them to the Science Museum of North Kurnow. I've taken them to China Clay, cover all the bases. Our art department here is fantastic. They do amazing work with taking the children's art down to the Tate at St Ives. We have competitions with football. So we use the outdoors as much as possible. We're here at Four Lanes. We go out in the field. We can fly a kite. We can go. We can do a nature walk around the class. I can take a pool of dirty water outside, bring it in, stick it under the microscope, and you've got even the most cynical child who's go, "Wow, what's amazing? Look at that! It's swimming underneath. There's life underneath the microscope." So definitely, beach trips is great. We've got all sorts of things there. So the science of a rock pool. Everybody likes pond dipping. So we're on to a winner down.
It's the kind of thing that I actually went through myself in school. Doing that kind of thing. Well, like you said, you go out and you just get anything from outside a pool of water and off you go. You can sort of start to look at what's going on at the microscopic level. We had a few times we went to the beach, to the point at which, because there were some of us that lived so close, some of us just walked to the beach and met the people who were being bussed down there. But I was lucky enough to have that where I was, which was the Roseland Community School, now the Roseland Community Academy. But can't agree with you more. It's so lovely to have being able to teach and be taught, I think, in Cornwall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you're really making and obviously the teacher relationship when you're young is such an important part of your life because you're with these teachers for years at a time. Do you feel like you're sort of I guess, do you have examples where you feel like you've really made an impact with students? You get those breakthrough moments, don't you, sometimes with students where they, as you say, sometimes they're like disinterested and suddenly something clicks and you sort of almost change a person so instantly.
You do. Oh, yeah. It's not a definite, but sometimes there's the odd one I'll tell you about. But it's, your relationship build and your role model. We're very keen on, obviously, we've got a good blend of male and female teachers here, and we have male and female TAs. And we try and, if you have pairings in classrooms, you bounce off people. If somebody has a go at me, or has some sort of go at me, my partner teacher is better to say, don't talk to that person like that. It's better than saying, well, don't talk to me like that. It's a behavioural thing. You get through that. So you model good behaviour. I will treat her with respect. I will treat him with respect, and you model that good behaviour. You enjoy the fact you're in Cornwall. Cornwall is people don't think of science in Cornwall, but they should do. I mean, in the Industrial Revolution, you've got Richard Trevithick basically invented the car. A couple of hundred years before anybody else invented the high pressure steam engine. You've got Marconi with the physics and the transmissions of radio signals. You've got Telstar, the satellites going down to Goonhilly. You've got mining, tin mining. This was the Silicon Valley of the whole world. This was the richest, most industrial place on the planet 200 years ago. This is where it all happened. The buzz was here. You can't imagine how fantastic that was, and we need to celebrate that. We need to say, this is what Cornwall has got. It's got everything, every aspect of science, and it's still promoting that. You've got the spaceport. You've got a spaceport coming to Newquay Airport. We've got, there's a wonderful exhibition some friends are doing, Discovering 42. They're doing in Bodmin, in the community centre up there by the park. There's places where you can go and get hands-on with things. You can play with things, especially children and young adults can play with things, and we can explain the physics, the light shows, the artistic stuff that goes with science as well. The science and art overlap, science and music overlap. It's incredible opportunities in Cornwall. It's the best place in the world.
That's fantastically
said. Can't say better.
Can't argue with any of
that. So anyone now who still isn't quite persuaded by those words, although I couldn't imagine how, but is thinking about getting into teaching, what would you recommend to them as your number one tip?
My number one tip is make sure that it's the teaching that's important. Subject knowledge. I mean, I have a passion with science, but I have taught other subjects as well. And generally, the subject knowledge almost is secondary. The main thing is, do you have a passion for young people? Do you respect young people? Can you get on with young people and treat them with the respect they deserve? But the biggest tip is you need to spend a few weeks in a school, in a classroom, because it's not for everybody. It's the bit they don't tell you about. You assume you're just going to go there and talk about something. Teaching doesn't involve that anymore. It's not the classic, hello, children, this is a chalkboard, and today we're going to learn. That went out the window a long time ago. It's interactive. You're under the spotlight a lot. So be a TA. Volunteer, be a TA. We always need good TAs, especially with other life experience. And you'll be in a classroom assisting a teacher straight away. There are agencies out there. And you will see how it works. That would be my big recommendation. And then after having seen if that's for you, then, there's incentives for training teachers. I believe they were announcing some new incentives recently for science and math shortage subjects. There's always something on the go. There's support, there's training that you can do locally down here.
Fantastic.
Great stuff.
Brilliant. I think that's very good advice. I never thought about it that way. Being a TA, you can literally see how it is right now, and that gives you a chance to work it out before you spend too much time, money, effort getting into something that maybe you don't want to do. And obviously that's going to have a knock-on effect on any children that you're teaching as well. So, you need to be good, you enjoy what you're doing yourself for it to be good for them. Gary, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for dealing with the mystery guest portion of the programme. It's been absolutely brilliant chatting to you, and it sounds like you've got a very good, effective way of getting information across to kids, where usually it would be just, what it's like, you get the kids half sort of falling asleep in class. That would have been me, by the way. But you sound like a top bloke, and you sound like you really enjoy what you're doing. Like you said, you've got to really have that passion for teaching. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure. And, it's been great.
Cool. Thanks, Gary. Cheers.